Good evening and welcome to this Prior Lake City Council meeting of Wednesday, November 12th, 2025. If you would please stand, join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, good evening. It's wonderful to see so many in our council chambers this evening. The first item on our agenda is the public forum. The public forum is that opportunity for those in the council chambers that would like to come before council to do so at this time. There are some exceptions to what we can accept as forum testimony, and specifically, if the purpose of your comments or testimony is to speak on behalf of the Cora project and the PUD amendment, that opportunity has already occurred, and a hearing was opened, and that hearing was concluded with the Planning Commission. So we will not accept testimony in regards to that project. There is, of course, a hearing this evening in regards to the vacation of an existing utility easement, and that would be entirely the right time to address the vacation of that utility easement would be this evening. So with those exceptions and any other hearing, is there anyone that would like to come before the council this evening and address us during the forum? Seeing none, council, I'd like to go ahead and move along to item 3 on our agenda, which is the approval of the agenda itself. If no changes, council, I would like a motion to approve as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Braid, second by Councilmember Churchill to approve the agenda as submitted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries, bringing us to our meeting minutes and seeking to approve those meeting minutes of October 28th, 2025. Again, council, if no changes, modifications, a motion to approve as submitted.
I would move to approve the minutes of October 28th, 2025.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Churchill, second by Councilmember Braid to approve those meeting minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Bringing us to the consent agenda this evening, I'd like to go ahead and hand that over to Manager Woodell to introduce the consent agenda and those items before us this evening. Manager Woodell.
Thank you, Mayor, council members, and members of the audience. So our consent agenda is for those items that are considered routine or non-controversial. They're placed all together on the consent agenda. So unless the mayor or a council member asks for an item to be removed for separate consideration, they're all approved together under a single motion, second, and a vote. If an item were to be removed this evening for separate consideration, it would be placed under item 10 on tonight's agenda. So tonight we have the following items on consent: approval of the claims listing, approval of the preliminary third quarter 2025 financial reports, a resolution authorizing final payment for the 2024 pavement management project, City Project 2024-01, resolution ordering the preparation of an alternative urban area-wide review, resolution authorizing the purchase of park furniture at Ponds Park, and finally, a resolution approving the disposal of EDA-owned property at 4662 and 4664 Dakota Street Southeast.
Thank you so much, Manager Woodell. Council, are there any items that you would ask be removed from the consent agenda and undertaken under item 10 this evening? If none, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Braid, second by Councilmember Hellier to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. Council, are there any items on the consent agenda that we just approved for which you'd like to make comment? Moving along, let's go ahead and go to presentations. Something I've been looking forward to this evening is a presentation recognizing retiring Scott County employees, and the excitement is to acknowledge the great work that they've done, not the retirement itself, of Lisa Fries and Cindy Geis. And we're going to go ahead and have Manager Woodell kick this off, and then we'll go ahead and Lisa and Cindy will meet at the side lectern.
Yeah, so as Lisa and Cindy start heading their way over, Mayor, I'll give you their certificates if you want to go join them. But so we're here to recognize the retirement of Lisa Fries and Cindy Geis. Lisa Fries is the Transportation Services Director, and Cindy Geis, the Community Services Director. So they've had very long and distinguished careers in public service, and their contributions to Scott County and the city of Prior Lake has just been phenomenal. Ms. Fries has served Scott County for more than 17 years, providing leadership in transportation planning and infrastructure development that has greatly benefited the Prior Lake community. Anyone that's driven on County Road 21 into Prior Lake and not through Prior Lake, as we like to say. The result of that beautiful project, Lisa played a key role in identifying the funding and pulling that whole project together. And then, of course, we also have Ms. Geis, who has dedicated nearly 32 years to Scott County, guiding the delivery of community services and fostering strong intergovernmental collaboration that has impacted our Prior Lake residents very positively. So their commitment, both of them, to excellence in public service and partnership with local communities exemplifies the highest standards of professional integrity and civic dedication, and we're very blessed to have had the opportunity to work with both of them over their careers. So we're here to say thank you.
Thank you so much, Jason. And while not wanting to repeat all that Jason just shared, these are two certificates of achievement from the City Council, and I guess personally, both of you, what has been so tremendous, having served as a council member for now 9 years, has been your accessibility. Your accessibility, especially the road project, also as I look at you, Cindy, accessibility around any question related to property tax, anything, any assessment, any appraisal, and all things, well, voting and the like, and also unbelievably accessible 24/7, 365 to, well, certainly myself and the whole of the citizens in Prior Lake. So with that, Lisa, you first. This is a certificate of appreciation for those 17 years that you've given to the city of Prior Lake and as Scott County Transportation Service Director. Whereas Lisa Fries began her career at Scott County in May of 2008, and whereas Lisa Fries has served in a variety of roles at Scott County, including Transportation Program Manager, Program Delivery Director, Transportation Planning Director, and Transportation Services Director, and whereas the entire community of Prior Lake has benefited from Lisa Fries' hard work and ability to secure funding for many transportation projects within Prior Lake that will benefit the community for many, many years, including the construction of County State 42 and the Trunk Highway 13 intersection, the signal intersection of one of my favorite, Trunk Highway 13, County Highway 12, that you accelerated. I think we bumped that up 2 years from where the plan was for that signal, again, through your efforts. The improvements at Revere and County Highway 21, and most significantly, of course, our downtown corridor. Therefore, let it be known that the city staff, city council, and the city of Prior Lake wishes to express its appreciation for the many years of exemplary service given by Lisa Fries and thank her for her dedication to the city of Prior Lake and its citizens. Lisa, I can't thank you enough. Thank you. Cindy, your turn. 32 years of service to the city of Prior Lake, also a resident of Prior Lake as a Scott County Community Services Director. Whereas Cindy Geis began her career at Scott County in November of 1993, and whereas Cindy Geis has served in a variety of roles at Scott County, including Secretary 2, Tax Specialist, County Auditor, Property Tax Revenue and Records Manager, County Treasurer, Property Tax and Customer Services Manager. There's more. And Community Services Director. You've done it all. Whereas the entire community has benefited from Cindy Geis's hard work to help Prior Lake navigate the tax levy process, lot splits, property tax inquiries, and levy impact questions that have helped both city staff as well as Prior Lake residents understand what arrives in the mail. Now, therefore, let it be known, city staff, city council, and city of Prior Lake wishes to express its appreciation for the many years, again, of exemplary service given by Cindy Geis and thank her for her dedication to the city of Prior Lake and its citizens. Cindy, again, it's my distinct pleasure. Thank you. And I would like if either of you would like to, any words at all, please. And then if we would, at the conclusion, we're going to take a brief recess and snap a couple of photos. So Cindy, Lisa, the microphone is all yours, and just make it go red when you're done talking.
Mayor, members of the council, I just want to say thank you for this recognition. Working at the county, I've got to work with a lot of the city folks throughout the county. It's always been a pleasure working with Prior Lake. You have an outstanding staff, and they've been fun to work with. And we've made good things happen over the years. Hopefully, we've made the community safer and the ability for people to get around better and into the downtown. So thanks a lot. We appreciate the cooperation we've had with the city over the years. And now that I'm retired, I can come out here and enjoy it. I was planning to come with my husband tonight, but we had a little bit of a family emergency. I was going to dine in your downtown, but we'll have to do that a different night. Thank you.
Mayor, City Council, thank you very much for this award and the many years of appreciation that you have shown me and my staff. You know, over the years, we've had a lot of inquiries from all over the county about property levies, property tax, property values, and there's a lot of questions about that, as well as all the different departments that I supervised. But you know, it's a tough question, and nobody likes taxes. You know, I was one of those divisions that nobody likes our office. No matter what it is, they don't like our office. I mean, there are some areas that they do. Our customer service, you know, that's well attended. Everybody likes going to the DMV and getting served, and the elections, they like to vote. But when it comes to the tax area, they generally don't like that office very well. But we strive to serve them. They did well. They always do a great job. You have always appreciated what they do, and we've always appreciated all the kind words that you always had to say to them. So to the citizens of Prior Lake, thank you. Thank you for all the years that I had the pleasure of serving the citizens of Prior Lake. And upon my retirement, I've had the pleasure of volunteering in different places throughout the county. So I'll continue to do that. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And with that, the meeting stands at recess at 8:12 for a brief bit. And I'd like to call the meeting back in order. I can see the clock. Clock got changed, so we're going to roll back time. So we wanted to recess at 8:12, and it's now 7:13. So the meeting is back in session. If we can, first item we have is a public hearing. Item 7A is a resolution approving the vacation of a sanitary sewer easement at 4662 and 4664 Dakota Street Southeast. And I can see we have Community Development Director McCabe presenting to us this evening. Director McCabe, we look forward to your presentation.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, councilors. So as the mayor mentioned, the subject property right next door to City Hall, located between City Hall and Gateway Park at 4662 and 4664 Dakota Street, there is a sanitary sewer line running through the rear yard of the two homes shown in green on the exhibit. In 1959, 3 property owners granted the city of Prior Lake a sanitary sewer easement and installed an 8-inch clay sewer line to serve those 3 homes. With the Cora Apartment proposed redevelopment that's on your agenda later this evening, this easement is no longer necessary. So if approved, the plan would propose to eliminate that sewer line and construct a building over the easement area. So if approved, this sewer line is no longer needed. State statute allows the city council to vacate any public utility easement that is not necessary in the same manner it vacates other public ways. That process would involve the city council holding a public hearing to review the disposal as it relates to the comprehensive plan. So our comprehensive plan does not specifically address utility easements other than as a function of providing public utilities. So this easement, if approved, the PUD amendment later on the agenda is no longer necessary. And so the vacation would not be inconsistent with any specific goal or objective of the comprehensive plan. Prior Lake City Code, Section 2-232 states no interest in real property shall be disposed of until after the Planning Commission has reviewed and reported its findings to council. That same section of code does say the city council may by resolution adopted by 2/3 majority dispense with the requirement for Planning Commission review if the council finds that it has no relationship with the comp plan. And again, this sanitary sewer easement will become unnecessary following the removal of the 2 single-family homes. So the attached resolution attached to your report requires a 2/3 vote. It includes a finding that the easement vacation has no relationship to the comprehensive plan and dispenses with the requirement for Planning Commission review. And it directs staff to file the resolution with Scott County following the removal of the 2 homes. So even if approved tonight, the resolution would not be filed until the homes are removed. So after the council holds a public hearing, staff is recommending a motion and a second to approve a resolution vacating the sanitary sewer easement. And I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much, Mr. McCabe. Councilor, are there any questions for Director McCabe? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to open that public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Braid and a second by Councilmember Churchill to open a public hearing in regards to the vacation of this easement. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The hearing is open at 7:17. Is there anyone that would like to come before the council and address us on this matter? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Braid, second by Councilmember Churchill to conclude the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. The hearing is closed. Council, are there any discussion on this item this evening? Again, seeing none, I would entertain a motion and a second on this item.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This seems pretty straightforward, so I will make a motion approving a resolution vacating a sanitary sewer easement located at 4662 and 4664 Dakota Street Southeast.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Braid and a second by Councilmember Hellier. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. That brings us to agenda item 9B, which is item 9A, new business, resolution canvassing the return of the City of Prior Lake 2025 special election results. And for this item, we have Manager Waddell. Manager Waddell.
Thank you, Mayor and councilors and members of the audience. As the mayor noted, this is part of the election process where the city council is asked to canvass the return of the election. On November 4th, there was a special election for a park referendum here in the city of Prior Lake. The results of that election are included in your packet. Ultimately, the total vote count for yes in favor of the park referendum was 2,864. The no vote was 3,934. So the referendum did not pass. So we would be asking the city council to canvass those results this evening.
And in canvassing, Manager Waddell, you're looking for acceptance of the
results.
Council, motion accepting those results?
I'll make a motion accepting the results, the return of the City of Prior Lake 2025 special election results.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Braden, a second by Councilmember Churchill. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Council, are there any comments that you would like to make on this special election? Councilmember Braid, please.
You know, this council had requested from our community some work direction for how to handle our parks. I'm grateful for the community's engagement. I'm grateful for city staff for all the efforts they put in to engage the residents and give them the information so that they can make an informed decision one way or the other. The community has provided that feedback. We serve at the pleasure of the people, and with that feedback received, we will move forward in that work direction and start working on parks in a different manner. So I'm grateful for the community feedback and look forward to rolling our sleeves up and going to work on it.
I would like to echo those comments and specifically also highlight the work of staff. Jason, Manager Waddell, Mr. Monsrud, Mr. Hart, the entire Park and Rec team, Mr. DeMars, relative to communication. I could not have hoped for a better job in communicating out to our citizens what a positive voice or what a vote yes would have done on that referendum. And your team addressed that beautifully based on any metric, videos, links, clicks, you did it all. And I just want to say thank you. And my echoing of Mr. Braid is the voters have been very clear. And we take that and it is going into action very, very quickly. So look for that. Item 9B on our new business. Ordinance amending Chapter 6 of the Prior Lake City Code relating to golf cart operation. Oh,
I'll take it.
oh.
Nope.
Yep. We're good?
Yep.
Manager Waddell, please.
Yep. Thank you, Mayor and councilors. We do have Chief Duggan here with us if you had any questions. But this is related to our city ordinance, Chapter 6, related to golf cart operations. The City Council had a work session back in August as we were discussing electric vehicles in general, e-motos, e-bikes, golf carts. We had a broad range of discussion topics on electric operated vehicles. And one of the things that was identified during that work session was that our current ordinance, which does allow for golf carts to be utilized on local streets, there wasn't anything in our code that specified the age at which somebody needed to be to operate that golf cart. So that was a direction by council to staff to make a modification and bring that forward to the city council. So that's what's before you this evening. So this would be modifying Chapter 6 of the city code so that golf cart operation would have to be by a 16-year-old licensed driver, or it could be a 15-year-old with a driver's permit with a parent or guardian in the passenger seat. Basically identical to driving a motor vehicle. And the thought being that if you're driving on the road in and amongst actual cars and trucks, you should have an understanding of the rules of the road, and similarly if you're operating a golf cart in that environment. So that is the modification that is before you this evening.
Thank you, Manager Waddell. Councilor, are there any questions for Manager Waddell on this ordinance change? Comment? Mr. Braid, please.
I mean, Prior Lake is a golf cart friendly community, and that was something that our residents enjoy. We're a lake community. And this is one of the things that came up in the work session that just makes a lot of sense to be able to put a licensed driver or a young 15-year-old with a permit to be able to do this. So I'll be in support of it tonight.
Thank you for the comment. Motion this evening on this item.
I would make a motion to amend Chapter 6 of the Prior Lake City Code relating to golf cart operations.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Hellier, second by Councilmember Braid. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. Bringing us to item 9C this evening, which is an ordinance amending a previously approved preliminary plan unit development PUD plan and a resolution approving a final PUD plan and development agreement for the Cora mixed-use apartment building. And I can see Community Development Director McCabe. Mr. McCabe, we look forward to your presentation.
Thank you, Mayor. So a preliminary planned unit development plan was approved by the City Council in 2022. The development next to Prior Lake City Hall was known as Prior Lake Luxury Apartments at that time. It is now known as Cora Apartments. The PUD approval provided flexibility with maximum setbacks, exterior materials, building height, and private parking requirements. The planned unit development did not authorize any uses of the building that are not already allowed in city code. So multifamily residential housing and the proposed restaurant use are both permitted uses in the town center. The applicant is Prior Lake B Squared Ventures. So when they were before you in 2022, the Beard Group was leading the development team. They have brought in new development partners, which are Northland Real Estate Group and T.E. Miller Development. If approved, Northland and T.E. Miller will be acquiring the Prior Lake B Squared Ventures entity, and Northland and T.E. Miller will be constructing and managing the property. So the request tonight is an amendment to a previously approved preliminary planned unit development plan. The council is not asked to reconsider the preliminary planned unit development plan only approval, only the amendments to the previously approved plan. The concept includes a 5-story structure, 105 market rate units, a street front restaurant, rooftop deck for tenants, 169 total parking stalls. So just to familiarize all in the audience, the site is located between city of Prior Lake City Hall and Gateway Park, approximately 1 acre. There are no wetlands on the site. It fronts and would have access from Dakota Street, and both the land use plan and our zoning map identify this property as town center. So the next several slides, I will review the changes from the previously approved plan to what the developer is currently proposing. Previous on the left side of your screen, current on the right. So they went from 97 total units and 139 total bedrooms. They are now proposing 105 total units with 147 bedrooms. The reason for this change is they reconfigured the upper level of the apartment building. The previous plan on the left side of your screen originally envisioned larger penthouse types units, and they have redesigned the upper level to provide more kind of a standard apartment size unit instead of the larger units. The previous plan on the left side of the screen had the eastern facing wall, so this is the wall that faces Gateway Park, had a 6 to 9 foot setback on the upper level. So there's 4 levels and then the 5th story is recessed. The current plan proposes roughly 50% of the exterior wall would be recessed at roughly 4 to 6 feet. The earlier plan had an outdoor tenant amenity deck, as does the current plan. They have redesigned the amenity deck, so instead of a larger 2,000 square foot outdoor space and a smaller 450 square foot indoor, they have just over 1,000 square foot, roughly 1,100 square foot outdoor space and an 830 square foot interior tenant lounge. Likewise, on the front of the building for the rooftop restaurant deck, the original plan anticipated a 2,100 square foot restaurant deck, and the current plan is proposing a 1,400 square foot deck. Building setbacks, I won't spend too much time on this. They're proposing slight modifications, but really we're talking about inches on the west and east and front yard setback. And so this PUD request is a little unique. Generally, when the Planning Commission or Council gets a request for setbacks in a PUD, it's to go closer to the property line. In this case, it's to go further from the front property line and further from the east property line next to the park, because the city of Prior Lake has a 10-foot maximum, and they would like to be further from the park and further from the street. Here's an exhibit just showing on a site plan roughly to provide some context here. At the rear of the building wall to building wall of Lakefront Plaza, it's going to be 82 to 84 feet. The building itself most of the building wall is about 11 feet from the side property line. The existing gazebo is proposed to stay. The building wall is going to be about 40 feet from that, just to orient yourself. At the closest point between the entrance to the Cora building, where it juts out a little bit towards the property line, and the portion of the Lakefront Plaza building that is right up to the property line, there will be about 73 feet of distance between the two buildings. The developer is proposing some modifications to the approved exterior materials. So Prior Lake City Code requires 80% of the front facade to be principal materials, which are brick, stone, and glass, and 20% can be accent materials. On the side and rear facades, those numbers are 60% and 40%. The previous planned unit development plan was approved with 42% of the principal materials on the front, 42 on the west, 46 on the east, and 49 on the rear. They're proposing to modify that to be 33% on the front, 39 on the west, 35 on the east, and 51 on the rear. Here's a few more examples of it. The overall look and feel and appearance of the building matches the preliminary plan. The developer provided a few elevations just to show the difference between what was proposed previously on the left side of your screen and the current proposal on the right. And also some architectural renderings, street front elevations. This is the east perspective, looking at their building with City Hall in the background, and then this is from the west with City Hall in the foreground. And you can see from the previous to the current, there is only slight modifications to the overall feel of the building. Parking is proposed to be amended. So Prior Lake City Code requires multifamily developments in the downtown town center to provide 1.5 private parking stalls per unit. The previous plan was approved at 1.38 stalls per unit, which was 0.96 per bedroom. The developer is proposing with the additional units, the parking wasn't able to be expanded. They already have 2 levels of underground parking. So they've not proposed an increase in parking, just units. So the ratio went to 1.29 stalls per unit and 0.92 per bedroom. And then I would just note that off-site parking, there is 163 off-site parking stalls provided, but there are 28 public stalls off-site. So if those were private stalls, the ratio, they would be at 1.55 and they would be meeting that requirement. So in summary, the PUD requested modifications are building setbacks, and again, this is to allow the building to be constructed further from Dakota Street and further from Gateway Park. Very slight modifications proposed to setbacks. Exterior materials, if approved, would allow a lower percentage of required principal exterior materials on the facade, and there's a slight decrease in principal materials being proposed. Building height was previously approved. There are no proposed changes to the building height. And then parking would be a modification to allow a reduction in private parking stalls per unit. The Planning Commission held the first public hearing on the PUD in April of 2022 and a second public hearing on the proposed PUD amendments at the end of October. The primary comments received during those public hearings were related to parking, traffic, building height, where are delivery and moving vehicles going to park, and the need for, is there a need for multifamily housing in Prior Lake? As far as the parking, the comments received some residents felt additional parking was needed, and some residents commented at the initial public hearing that underground parking would not be utilized if there is a fee, because there is proposed to be a fee for underground parking. The Greenwood building was referenced, insinuating nobody parks below Greenwood because there's a fee. So following that meeting, staff did contact Greenwood, and they said yes, they do have a fee. All of their parking is reserved and used, and they have a waiting list. For the Cora Apartment project, they are proposing to provide 63% more total stalls per unit than Greenwood is providing. So Greenwood is not a great example. Greenwood is underparked. They're proposing to provide 1.3 more parking stalls per unit than Lakefront Plaza. As far as parking stalls to bedrooms, the Cora would be 82% more than Greenwood and 1.8 more than Lakefront Plaza. Private underground stalls per unit, they would be 98% more than Greenwood and 28% more than Lakefront Plaza. And underground private stalls per bedroom would be 119% more than Greenwood and 28% more than Lakefront Plaza. And then it's noted too that there are 28 public off-street parking stalls proposed with Cora, and there are no public off-street parking for the other 2 properties. Comments were received about traffic, concerns about speed and number of vehicles on Dakota Street. So we would estimate, based on the Institute of Transportation Engineers manual, that this use would be, generate 5.44 trips per apartment unit. So that would be approximately 571 trips per day. In addition, the developer estimates the restaurant would generate around 350. Dakota Street is a collector street. It's designed for 5,000 daily trips. We are not to that number yet. We did have a traffic analysis done this past summer. So in the westbound lanes of Dakota Street in this area, the average daily traffic was 1,200 vehicles, and the eastbound lane was roughly 1,200 vehicles. At peak volume, so the study was broken down into 15-minute increments. At peak volume, so the most trafficked, it was 56 vehicles in the westbound lane and 31 in the eastbound lane. The average speed going westbound was 16 miles an hour, and the average speed eastbound was 9 miles an hour. The study looked at the 85th percentile, which is 85% of the traffics are traveling at or below that speed, and only 15% higher. The 85th percentile westbound was 19.7 miles an hour, and eastbound was 13.8, with only under 1% of vehicles exceeding the 30 mile an hour posted limit westbound, and just under 3% eastbound. Building height, again, building height is not proposed to be amended, but several comments were received about the building being too tall. This was shared with the council the last time this PUD was considered, just for kind of comparison on the City Hall building and the Lakefront Plaza building, that this will be in between. So the peaks of City Hall building are roughly 50 feet. The Lakefront Plaza has about 30 feet of livable area to the peak of that building would be 50 feet, and the Cora building is proposed at 57 and a half. So it should be in line with the two buildings on either side of it. Some comments were asked about where are delivery and moving vehicles going to stage and park. There's roughly 60 feet in front of the curbs on either side, and there is a 36-foot wide drive lane, curb to curb, so there should be adequate room for a 8 or 9 foot wide box truck, delivery vehicle, Amazon, restaurant delivery to park on the side of the road and still allow 2 lanes of traffic to flow. One comment on the need for multifamily housing. The most recent, we're about ready to, with Scott County, to update the housing needs assessment. So the most recent information is a 2021 update of that study that identified a market rate rental demand of 824 units in Prior Lake between 2021 and 2040, and that study noted a apartment vacancy rate of 2%, and the vacancy rate under 5% indicates a tight market, which would indicate that there is demand for this type of housing in Prior Lake. So as mentioned, the Prior Lake Planning Commission held a public hearing to consider the plan amendments at the end of October. The Planning Commission voted 3-2 to recommend approval of the proposed amendments to the City Council. The commissioners who did not vote in support of approval commented on the reduction in exterior materials from the earlier approved plan, an increase of units but not an increase of private parking stalls, and there was questions about potential traffic impacts for delivery and moving vehicles. The applicants heard that from the residents and the planning commissioners. They provided a few slides to address those, which were shared with the council. I'll review them quickly here for the audience. The parking analysis, they provided a comparison of the Cora project to the Omri development, which is one of the recent projects out by Canterbury and Shakopee. That is, they noted in that building, the residents' only option is to park at the Omri because there's not public parking in the vicinity. That building is 100% occupied, and parking is provided at 0.94 stalls per bedroom, where Cora is proposed to be provided at 1.11 stalls per bedroom, and they have not experienced parking issues at that building. As far as the exterior materials, they provided this design intent slide. This slide highlights the materials proposed and compares the theme and intent with similar projects around the metro area. And then, although not, our brick, stone, and glass principal material requirements of city code, they do note in this slide that they are still high quality, durable materials that they're going to own and manage this property, so they wanted higher end materials that are not going to require a lot of maintenance. As far as staging and circulation, they provided this slide for the council's information. top of the image is U-Haul's largest moving vehicle, a 34-foot long truck with a 8-foot width. This exhibit shows that Dakota Street is large enough for a large box truck to be parked in one of the staging areas, whether they're delivering Amazon packages or restaurant supplies or moving residents in or out of the facility. They can park there and still allow vehicles to move back and forth. The exhibit shows in blue how the trash will be collected. And then the developer also indicated on the slide that once full, they would estimate 4 move-ins or move-outs per month. So that's assuming a 50% non-renewal lease rate. So this is, vehicles will be parked there to load and unload or move people in and out, but this is not going to be a daily occurrence. So in conclusion, again, the council is not being asked to reconsider the entire preliminary PUD plan, but just consider the amendments to the previously approved plan, which are an increase in total units from 97 to 105, slight modifications to the building setbacks and exterior materials, and then the revised parking calculation. Staff has provided Public Works and engineering comments to the developer. We do not feel that any of those comments will alter their overall plan or the plan unit development approval. So staff is recommending a motion and a second to approve, one, an ordinance amending the previously approved PUD plan, and the second item on the recommendation is a resolution approving the final PUD plan. And council, I'd be happy to take questions. The applicants and their development team are in the audience as well if you have questions for them.
Thank you so much, Director McCabe. Council, any questions for Director McCabe this evening? Councilmember Braid, please.
I think for me, it's mainly more of it like comments. You answered almost all of my questions in that report. So great report, really detailed. You hit on the parking, the materials, the staging, all of the questions that I had in my mind, right, reading through the report's initial. You know, I think the parking component is a big one, but we're adding a bunch of parking. You know, we have heard previously Greenwood is underparked, and this is not that, right? This is a completely different development with a lot more parking in place. So I also sit on the EDA, and so I followed this in detail for years now. So I have a pretty good handle on the project, but good report. You answered all of my questions. Director McCabe, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Braid, any other comments? I, too, would like to make comment not only on Director McCabe's presentation, but also as it first came up, first PUD was 2022. So as Councilmember Braid said, three and a half, 4 years. I, too, have grown more and more comfortable with this development project. The pieces that have come to us are here because of a lot of dynamics, I would say, outside the control of many, right? As we see the downsizing of the size of the units yielding more bedrooms, and yet the parking on the ratio, to Mr. Braid's comments, this is one, what was the number, Casey, 83% more parking than the Greenwood? Help me with my state school math. 82% more than Greenwood, 2% more than Lakefront Plaza. So again, we, the council, the planning commission, have really pushed on the parking, and the gift of 28 public parking spots that are not fully factored into these numbers. We don't have that in any other commercial building in downtown Prior Lake. So with that, I certainly am in full support of the modifications to the PUD. And as such, if you would bring us back to the motion, it's, Casey, again, it's two resolutions, we need two, or can we blend into a singular?
Mayor, one motion and second, which would be to approve an ordinance approving the amendment to the PUD plan, and also a resolution approving the final PUD plan.
Excellent. With that, council.
I'll make a motion to approve an ordinance approving an amendment to the previously approved preliminary planned unit development, PUD, plan and a zoning map amendment to designate the PUD overlay district for Prior Lake luxury apartments at 4662 and 4664 Dakota Street Southeast, and a resolution approving a final PUD plan and development agreement for Cora Apartments, subject to the listed conditions.
Second.
We have a motion. We have a motion by Councilmember Braid and a second by Councilmember Churchill. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And that motion carries. Bringing us to new business item 9D, which is a resolution approving a redevelopment tax increment financing development agreement for TIF District number 1 through 6 for the Cora Apartments. And here we go.
Here we go, me again. Thank you, Council, thank you, Mayor. Prior Lake B Squared Ventures LLC is the applicant on this request. They're requesting redevelopment tax increment financing to assist with eligible project costs related to the redevelopment of the Cora apartment project we just discussed. Again, the proposal is a 5-story mixed-use building with 105 market rate rental units, street front restaurant, rooftop restaurant, bar, 169 parking stalls, 34 of which are public and 35 are private. In November of 2022, the City Council took action on this request and approved a modification of Municipal Development District 1. They approved a TIF plan for the redevelopment TIF District number 1-6 and establishment of TIF District 1-6. So tax increment financing uses the additional property taxes paid due to the development or redevelopment to pay for part or all of the eligible redevelopment costs. Current property value within the district with the tax increment district is frozen at a base level, and all taxing bodies continue to receive that base property tax, but the property value increase as a result of the development or redevelopment is above that base amount is the increment. That is captured in a dedicated fund and used to reimburse developer for eligible costs. So this is a rough example showing just high level how TIF works. So the base value that's been paid, the date the TIF district is created, the improvement is made, the value is gonna jump up fairly drastically, fairly quick. That base value is still collected by all of the taxing districts, so there's no loss of property taxes received. That captured tax increment is available to be used to reimburse the developer for eligible costs. And once the TIF term expires, the district is decertified. Now the new project value benefits all of the taxing jurisdictions. So the base value plus all of the increase. The developer is requesting pay-as-you-go tax increment financing to assist with eligible costs, so the city will not be bonding or fronting any of the tax increment money. This is pay-as-you-go. So developer makes property tax payments, a portion of that is reimbursed to the developer for agreed upon eligible costs. The tax increment development agreement attached to your report identifies the eligible costs, which are bullet pointed on your screen. It's primarily for earthwork, demolition, getting the site ready for construction, underground parking improvements, kind of ground level down, if you think of it that way. So the TIF plan was previously approved. The TIF plan provides the general framework and terms for the assistance. So it would identify the entire increment that may be generated over the full TIF term. The TIF development agreement that you're considering tonight is different from the TIF plan. So this TIF development agreement would be the actual assistance agreement. It would identify specific terms, city and developer responsibilities, and the specific amount of assistance available. So key elements of the TIF development agreement includes the requirement that the developer must construct the building as proposed and approved. Tax increments will be provided in the form of pay-as-you-go. The city will reimburse the developer for eligible costs from annual property tax proceeds. The TIF note has a principal value of $3.383 million with an interest rate of 5%. The maximum term of the note is 25 years, which is 26 years of tax increment collection. The total estimated payments over the period not to exceed 25 years would be $6.37 million estimated. The amounts due under the note would be paid beginning on August 1st, 2028, and would be paid on each February 1st and August 1st until 2054. The development agreement includes a restaurant use requirement. So the restaurant space can be used only for restaurant purposes, which is main level and upper level. No other use. So any use of the restaurant for any other residential or commercial purpose would be an event of default. And then this agreement would terminate the earlier of February 1st, 2054, the date the note is paid in full, the date the TIF district expires, or the date the agreement is terminated or rescinded. Staff sees the following benefits to a project like this in our downtown. One is it would remove 2 legally non-conforming substandard single-family homes. So we have very few single-family homes in our town center district. They are not permitted uses currently. They, of course, can remain as non-conforming uses. This would remove 2 of those. The project may spur redevelopment and improvements in other areas of the downtown, which Prior Lake has seen on the south side of downtown with recent improvements and new projects in that area has spurred other improvements. It would certainly increase the market value. So the current Scott County estimated market value for the 2 properties is approximately $650,000. Following construction of this project, the estimated market value is anticipated to be around $25 million. It would diversify the property tax of the city. So most recent property tax payments for those 2 parcels, $6,200 was collected. Following decertification of this TIF district, we would assume the property tax payments would be closer to $300,000 annually. Redevelopment would help the city achieve 2 goals in the city's 2023 to 2026 strategic plan. So 2 of those targets that were identified in the plan were add 20,000 square feet of new commercial development in the downtown by 2026. This would help achieve that. And it's to add 80 residential units in the downtown by 2027, and this would accomplish that. This project would provide Class A rental units, which is a housing option that does not currently exist in downtown Prior Lake. And it would bring added vibrancy to the downtown as the new tenants would bring energy and a customer base to support our downtown businesses. So just a little recap on tax increment financing and how many districts currently exist in the city of Prior Lake. Over the last 3 years, the city of Prior Lake has decertified 3 tax increment districts, 2 housing and 1 redevelopment. All 3 of these were decertified early because the actual increment generated was higher than the original estimates. So we were able to pay those down sooner and decertify the district to get them back on the tax rolls. So Prior Lake currently has 2 active TIF districts, one being the Premier Dance redevelopment district and the other one being the Greenwood housing project. With that, council, I am recommending a motion and a second to approve a resolution authorizing execution of the development agreement. I'd be happy to take any questions. We also have, again, the developers in the room, and we have Tammy Umdahl with Northland Securities if you have any questions about the TIF agreement. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Director McCabe. Council members, are there any questions you have of Mr. McCabe? Any comments, council, please? Councilmember Braid.
Thank you, Director McCabe, for another detailed report. You answered my questions. It has felt like we have decertified a lot of TIF districts over the past few years. And I was curious exactly what the districts that we have now are. Obviously this would be another one, but it's also, I think, my first certification of one in 9 years. So this isn't something that we just give TIF to everybody and there you go. The benefits that we're getting out of this are Class A apartments, people that are going to come and spend their money in our downtown, support our local businesses. That will continue to make our downtown more vibrant. You have the 28 parking stalls, you have a restaurant, you have a rooftop patio, right? And you have the additional 6 or 7 public parking spaces. So we're using increment to add parking in our downtown versus taxpayer money at $60,000 a pop per stall. So it takes it over time. So that's why TIF in this particular project makes sense to me. And obviously, being on the EDA, we have worked through a lot of this. So I will be in support of it tonight.
Council, any other comments? I mean, mine would largely duplicate what Councilmember Braid said, and at the risk of repeating what he said, when we were elected, actually, interestingly enough, one of the first items that came before the council was on a TIF question, and we voted it down. And I share that as context, that at least with the EDA, with staff, what we wanted to see when we do have TIF is value to the community. And this project has it. This project has it time and time again. And with the closure of those other TIF districts as well, this to me is a critical project that's going to be a catalyst for additional development in our community. So I will be fully supporting this recommendation. So with that, I would accept a motion.
I would make a motion to approve a resolution authorizing the execution of a development agreement with Prior Lake B Squared Ventures LLC for TIF 1 through 6, Cora Apartments.
Second?
We have a motion by Councilmember Hellier and a second by Councilmember Braid. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, that motion carries. Council, that brings us to our second to the last agenda item this evening, which is Councilmember Liaison updates. If I can, look to Mr. Hellier to kick it off for us, please.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. On Wednesday, the 5th, I had the Chamber Board meeting. I had my agenda review with Councilor Churchill on Friday, the 7th, and then today, the Mayor and I went to the State of the District at Prior Lake High School and learned more about the MinCaps program and how our Prior Lake students are getting more involved in what's coming after high school while they're still in high school.
Thank you so much. Councilmember Churchill.
Thank you, Mayor. On November 3rd, I attended the Mobility Management Board meeting, and on the 7th, I had my agenda review, and earlier today, I had the MBTA Board meeting.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Churchill. Councilmember Braid.
Mayor, members of the council, on November 10th, attended the EDA meeting. On November 10th, also attended an annexation meeting with Spring Lake Township to discuss the annexation agreement. It's part of a yearly meeting that we have to discuss how that agreement's working, are there any changes, and just update each other on the development progress in the annexation area. I also attended a agenda review on 11/10, and then on 11/11 Veterans Day, celebrated that. Prior Lake honors those who've served our great nation, and you can see that by driving down the streets of Maine. So I want to say thank you to all the veterans for your service, and your community owes you a debt of gratitude.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Braid. I'm going to highlight just two items. One is the great candy crawl that we had on the 31st on Halloween. Manager Waddell, how many did we have sign in? 535 signed in to visit our boutiques and our shops with their parents. So just a great effort on behalf of staff. Another great event. Manager Waddell and I had a wonderful State of the City presentation at Edina Realty on the 4th of November. Learned a bunch about who's moving into the community and some of the things that they are looking forward to in the community. And finally, had a wonderful Veterans Day presentation and time at St. Michael's Church this week, presenting on the importance of the 11th day at the 11th hour to end that World War I and honor our veterans. So that's what I have. I would like to also let all in the community know on the 14th of November, which is this Friday, we have a ribbon cutting on our trail. Right at, it's going to be at the State Bank of Faribault on Highway 13. We're going to have Congresswoman Craig joining us, as well as a number of Scott County dignitaries. That is a huge addition into our community, and I'd invite folks to come on out. And with that, I'll look to Manager Waddell. Any comments that you'd like to add, sir?
Yes, thank you, Mayor and council members. First, I want to thank City Clerk Heidi Simon and our Deputy Clerk Megan Koyman for their managing the election process for the referendum. They put in countless hours, late nights, weekends, along with all of our volunteer election judges, that we could not do this without them. So I want to make sure and recognize them for their hard work and efforts. And secondly, I was just going to give a quick shout out to our Prior Lake girls volleyball team being runner-up in the state championships. Lost to Lakeville South in the championship game, but they had a great season, and we're very proud of them.
With that,
I would make a motion to adjourn the November 12th Prior Lake City Council meeting.
Second.
motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting is adjourned at 7:59.